Ray's own brother dragged him into a legendary dungeon like he was an extra luggage. My man got downgraded from older sibling to a family mule in one lifetime. I am Ray, and my only goal is to steal the throne from every single one of these so-called geniuses who looked the other way. Let me rewind. This guy had the most broken disadvantage. No color, no magic. A complete colorless in a world of mages. He carried gear for a decade and even watched his prodigy brother become a legend. Then a god threw him away because he was bored and wanted to play with a human toy. Kronos, the god of time and space, didn't betray him. He didn't even see him as worth betraying. He was just a bug to crush slowly. So he tortured him for fun, killed him, then rewound time just to kill him again differently. Got bisected, burned to ash, crushed into paste. Hell, one time probably got melted by divine boredom. And let me tell you, that god's rewind power became nothing but a curse, making him live his own death over and over. And to make things even sweeter, when he finally stole that power and rewound 7 years back, all those talented bastards were still stuck with their one cute little trick. But he, the colorless Zero, woke up with a black skill that could steal anything. Guys, absolutely destroy that like button and hit subscribe if you're new. Your support means everything. Now, let's continue. 10 years in the past, people looked at the sky above Tokyo in terror. A massive, inverted castle has suddenly materialized there. Simultaneously, mysterious dungeons have appeared all over Japan. This event caused people to awaken mana, and those with strong talent became mages. These mages then began to challenge the dungeons, and success brought them great wealth and fame. A mage's talent is judged by their mana's color. Most people show an aptitude for only one color, and a bearer of two colors is very rare. The MC's younger brother is one such person. This man, Kurosaki Kai, bears both blue and red mana, and is currently facing a powerful demonic creature. The creature unleashes its full power. Kai feels excitement instead of fear. The beast charges directly at him. He activates his demonic spear skill and throws it. The demon cannot dodge and is hit directly. It falls to the ground defeated. Kai walks over and picks up the dropped item. Another person stands lost in thought in a corner. Kai throws the item at the man's head to get his attention. He tells him to be more alert and to pick it up quickly. People call Kai the Purple King. He is level 89, one of the strongest mages. The man with him is his older brother, Kurosaki Ray. Ray thinks of himself as incompetent and without aptitude. He is a complete colorless, a very rare condition. He is only level 1 but cannot give up his dream of becoming a mage. This is why he works as a porter for his brother's group. He clings to the naive hope of awakening an ability someday. This thin hope is why he follows Kai into dungeons. The group continues exploring. They arrive before a huge, imposing door. Other members comment they have reached the boss room. They think the boss should be easy. The party passes through the door and surveys the room. A single being stands ahead. It is Kronos, the god of time and space, with an unknown level. Kai pays no serious attention. He gets excited and says, "The boss does not look like much." He prepares his demonic Morty's skill and launches it. Kronos calmly retrieves a sword from a subspace. He uses it to repel the attack completely and with ease. He shows no reaction. This frightens Kai, who does not understand how his attack was blocked. Kronos releases an intense pressure with his gaze. Kai feels this pressure and is terrified. He cannot move. A single attack from Kronos hits Kai directly. The force smashes his head completely. The others are horrified to see the Purple King defeated so easily. Ray sees his brother eliminated and begins to panic. He tries to understand what is happening. He looks at Kronos and wonders if Kai was really defeated. The other members try to run in fear. Kronos attacks and eliminates them all. Ray falls to the ground, unable to believe it. Kronos calls out to Ray and laughs. He wants to know if Ray is a complete colorless. Ray clenches his fist tightly. He thinks it is not over because he has achieved nothing. He grabs his sword and stands up, trembling. He thinks he cannot die here. Kronos comments that he finds it interesting, and nobody dares to face him. Ray tries to remain calm and keeps thinking he cannot give up. The boss does not care. Kronos states he will test Ray. He strikes with a powerful attack without giving him time. The attack destroys the right half of Ray's body. Ray cannot believe he is so severely injured. He can do nothing to defend himself. Kronos comments that he went a little too far. He uses his rewind skill. Ray returns intact to a moment before his injury. He does not understand what happened. He wonders if he was healed. The boss prepares another attack and launches his flames of despair. A huge wave of flames comes toward Ray. While Ray tries to think, Kronos comments he will give him time to think. The god laughs and wants to know what the boy will do. Ray looks behind him and sees the sword Kronos created earlier. He knows his own attacks will not work. He believes the boss's own sword could have an effect. He runs to it, grabs the sword, and prepares for the flames. He realizes the blade can dissipate them. He charges at Kronos. While advancing, his body begins to burn from the heat. He tries to resist the pain. Kronos watches until he is surprised. Ray drives the sword deep into the boss's chest. Much of his own body is burning. He thinks he struck Kronos directly. Kronos laughs and activates his rewind skill again. Ray is frightened to find he has returned to a moment before striking. The boss is now healed. Kronos tells him it was fine entertainment. Ray drops the sword, falls to his knees, and begins to panic. He thinks everything he did was useless. He wonders if this is how he will be eliminated. Just then, a system screen appears, surprising him greatly. The system says that the presence of a god of time and space has been confirmed, and the seal of the black skill is released. And as a result, the steel skill has been acquired, and the rewind skill of Kronos has been stolen. Ray cannot believe it. Kronos begins to suspect something is wrong. Without thinking twice, Ray uses the stolen rewind skill. He manages to break the space and time he is in. The boss becomes furious. He shouts, calling Ray an insolent brat. He wants to know how a mere human dares to steal his skill. Time begins to regress, and Ray is thrown back to the time of his choice. He awakens in his bed, and recalls that he desperately used rewind skill earlier. Ray sees his reflection in the mirror and notices something strange. He feels strong surprise, wondering if this is his younger face. He thinks everything might have been a bad dream. He looks outside his bedroom window. The inverted castle hangs in the sky, still pure white. He remembers it was completely dark in his original timeline. He knows the castle stayed white for 7 years before slowly darkening. It turned completely black when its door opened, releasing Kronos. Ray begins to understand his situation. He remembers the fight with Kronos and stealing the rewind skill. He picks up his phone to check the date. The screen confirms his theory. He looks at his younger face again. He realizes he has gone back 7 years into the past. He successfully rewound time. He summons his skill status. A transparent blue screen appears. The list shows only one skill, steel skill. The stolen rewind skill is gone. He still feels excited because his original skill remains. He recalls his first life, 10 years without gaining a single skill. He feels sure this one skill will change his future. A notification chimes on his phone. He reads it and realizes he has returned to the exact day of the mage qualification exam. The exam is in Chiyoda Ward, at the Mage Association headquarters near Tokyo Station. Ray knows this agency supervises all dungeon mages. He walks through the main doors. He glances around the lobby. Everything looks shiny and new to him due to the 7-year difference. This modern look makes sense now. 2 familiar figures spot him and walk over. They call him by the nickname Colorless and demand to know why he is there. They are Ike and Godo. Ray recognizes them as his brother Kai's followers. Godo steps forward and puts an arm around Ray's shoulders in a fake friendly gesture. He asks if Ray plans to fail the exam again. Oik states bluntly that a person without mana color will always be a nobody. Ray quietly agrees with their cruel words in his mind. He has taken this test many times before. His dream never faded in his first life, leading to constant failure. Today is different. He forcefully shrugs off Godo's arm. He tells both men to leave him alone and walks toward the registration area. Oik complains loudly about a colorless person, ignoring them. Godo mutters about Ray acting strangely. In a separate office, exam proctor Hinata reviews paperwork. She is a B-rank mage. She looks up and sees Ray through the window. She notes his presence once again. She takes a slow, deep breath. She tells Ray the exam is still dangerous and he could get seriously hurt. Ray gives a small laugh and replies that this attempt will be a success. They walk into the examination hall. Hinata offers to explain the rules again. Ray keeps his eyes fixed on the glowing portal. He declines politely and steps through. The test goal is simple. He must collect 3 magic stones from goblins. Passing requires this for any mage with awakened abilities. This task is very easy. Ray feels determined to end his cycle of failure. A low growl comes from the dungeon shadows. A sinister creature steps out to block his path. Ray remembers this incident from his original future. This monster should never appear in a level 1 dungeon. He now faces a red-capped goblin of level 37. Proctor Hinata watches through a monitoring screen. She cannot believe what she sees. She shouts an alarm about the high-level monster. She grabs her sword and rushes into the dungeon to help. She screams at Ray to run away immediately. Fear fills Ray, but not for himself. The power difference between Hinata and the monster is too large. He remembers from his past life that she lost this fight. She fights the red cap to protect him. She struggles to block its powerful attacks. She realizes she is losing and feels real fear. The red cap smashes through her defense with one strong blow. The force throws her body across the rocky ground. Ray's thoughts race. In the previous timeline, she fought to give him time to escape. Those injuries ended her mage career. He believes his own weakness caused her ruin. His face hardens with new resolve. The red cap turns its attention toward him. Ray prepares to stand his ground. He tells himself the outcome will be different. He throws his dagger at the monster's head. He knows this red cap has a skill that makes its body stronger. The creature blocks the dagger easily with its arm. Ray understands normal attacks are useless. He jumps forward and punches the monster directly in its face. He hopes his steel skill made a difference. The red cap becomes angrier. It prepares to swing its weapon. Suddenly, the creature stops. It seems confused by a strange feeling. A system notification appears. The message informs him he has stolen the body enhancement skill from the red cap. His own physical power increases immediately. Ray looks at the now weakened monster. He attacks again with full force. This time, he easily cuts the monster in half with his sword. He says aloud that without its skill, the monster is just weak meat. Hinata observes the scene with deep confusion. She cannot understand Ray's victory over the red cap. Ray takes a steadying breath, thinking his power to steal skills is incredible. Hinata walks over and demands an explanation. Ray feels embarrassed and decides not to reveal his black skill. He claims it was a lucky coincidence. This makes Hinata furious, and she tells him to stop lying. She changes the subject, stating the exam must be cancelled due to the irregular monster. She needs to report the incident immediately. Ray notices a drop item on the ground and picks it up. He knows such monsters should not appear yet. He tells Hinata he still needs 2 more mana stones to pass. She yells that now is not the time for the exam. A low growl comes from a tunnel. Ray turns and sees 2 ordinary goblins charging. He eliminates them with a single strike. Hinata is surprised again. Ray picks up their dropped mana stones and asks if he can keep them. She is left speechless. Later, at the association entrance, Proctor Hinata hands Ray his official mage license. He stares at the card, thinking this moment took far too long. He remembers never giving up on his dream and his 10 years as a porter. He finally feels like a real mage. Hinata interrupts, telling him to check the exchange details for the mana stones. Ray knows mana stones are valuable clean energy sold for money. He checks the screen. The reward for defeating a rank A red cap is a large profit. He sees the calculated value and his eyes widen in shock. He exclaims about receiving 3 million yen. Hinata confirms the amount is correct. Ray comments he never knew mages earned so much. Hinata laughs and says he will earn even more soon. While she laughs, Ray remembers an important task. He tells her he has a personal request. They go to a reserved training area with a practice dungeon portal. A scanner confirms his reservation. He thinks he could never have dreamed of a solo dungeon before. He remembers the original timeline where Hinata was hospitalized after fighting the red cap. He feels glad she is now safe and believes he can change the future. A magical force suddenly grabs him from behind. A mana hand skill restrains him. The person demands to know what he is doing. The figures are Goto and Aik. They accuse him, a colorless person, of having the guts to face a solo dungeon and breaking rules. Ray states clearly he passed the exam and has permission. Goto tells him to stop talking nonsense. Aik grabs Ray's head and furiously demands he show his abilities. Ray channels his power while thinking. He knows Aik's ability creates a physical mana hand. His own stolen body enhancement might not break free. He devises a new plan. He plants his foot and jumps forward, headbutting Aik in the face and injuring his nose. The system notifies him he successfully stole the mana hand ability. The magical hand dissipates. Both Aik and Goto struggle to understand. Without hesitation, Ray activates his stolen mana hand and grabs Oike with full force. Oike sweats and asks if Ray really awakened abilities. Goto charges at Ray, telling him not to get excited. Goto prepares his fireball skill as he approaches. Ray activates his extreme body enhancement and uses his enhanced body to dissipate the fireball completely. Goto cannot believe his attack was neutralized. Ray takes advantage of the opening. He charges at Goto and lands a solid punch, throwing him hard against a wall. Oik is even more surprised to see Ray also has a body enhancement skill. The 2 defeated men watch Ray unleash his power and wonder if he is a 2-colored mage. Ray takes a deep breath and tells them no. He channels a new power into his hand. The system notifies him he stole Goto's fireball ability. Ray holds a flickering fireball in his palm, making it clear to both men they forgot to mention he now has 1 more ability. Goto stares in shock, unable to believe Ray might possess a 3rd mana color, something unheard of. Ray prepares and launches a fiery attack. Goto jumps aside to avoid it. Oik realizes the mana hand restraining him is gone. Ray prepares another fireball and asks if they wish to continue. Oik and Goto share a frightened look, then turn and run, begging for forgiveness. Ray sighs in relief. He thinks his brother Kai will come after him if he learns of this. Kai, level 50, treats him with contempt. Ray knows another threat looms. A dangerous dungeon soon to be unlocked. He faces the practice dungeon entrance, concluding he must raise his level urgently. He enters the portal. He remembers level is the foundation of strength, allowing new skills and more mana. Controlling mana is more important than having it. An explosion happens in front of him. A level 38 Flame Mage appears. Ray prepares his fireball, barely controlling it. The Flame Mage prepares a more powerful version. Ray understands the level difference impacts even the same skill. The Flame Mage launches a volley of fireballs without warning. Ray counterattacks with his own. Some collide, but several head for him. He jumps aside to avoid them. He positions himself, thinking a direct fight is impossible. A new strategy comes to mind. He jumps toward the Flame Mage, remembering a universal combat rule. After using a skill, there is always a brief opening. He activates Body Enhancement. He knows he has only about 2 seconds while the opponent is defenseless. He delivers a powerful punch to the Flame Mage's face, sending it flying backward. The system notifies him he successfully stole the fireball skill. The Flame Mage stands up quickly and tries to use its skill but becomes confused when it fails. Ray prepares his newly enhanced fireball. He knows stealing a skill leaves the opponent unable to use it briefly, making them less intimidating. He does not waste the opportunity. He unleashes his fireball, and a wave of flames engulfs the monster. More system notifications appear. He leveled up 4 times from that victory. He concludes defeating higher-level monsters grants massive experience, which is normally very difficult. With his skill steal, everything becomes easier. Another notification states he is now level 12. Ray clenches his fist with determination. He looks down a dark passage and decides his goal is to reach level 30. He battles every monster he encounters, moving from fight to fight without rest. His level increases steadily. He pauses to check his status. He leveled up incredibly fast, but is only at level 27. He thinks this slowdown was expected, as leveling becomes harder when stronger. To reach level 30, he must seek higher level monsters. After more time in the dungeon depths, he reaches the deepest part. He stands before a large, ornate door to the boss room. He thinks the boss inside is the perfect opponent. He opens the heavy door and enters. The boss, a level 45 skeleton demon, waits inside with several level 30 imps. Ray prepares for a difficult battle. All monsters are higher level than him. He thinks stealing their techniques might give him a chance. He does not want to waste time. He immediately charges at the main boss, jumps, and prepares a body reinforcement enhanced punch. His fist strikes an invisible barrier before hitting the skeleton demon. Ray is surprised and jumps back to safety. He thinks this was expected. Getting close is not easy with a mana barrier in the way, and skill steal is useless against it. The skeleton demon becomes furious at the attempt. It lets out a piercing magical roar and moves with incredible speed, getting very close to Ray instantly. Ray dodges to the side at the last moment to avoid its sharp claws. He then thinks he has no choice but to execute his new plan. Ray notices the group of imps moving to attack him as well. He jumps high into the air to intercept the first one. He delivers a strong punch to the creature and activates his skill-stealing ability upon impact. The system notifies him that he has stolen the Ice Stake skill. Ray then prepares his fireball skill and launches it at another approaching imp. He sees a third creature coming immediately after. He prepares his newly acquired Ice Stake and throws it. The sharp ice projectile completely impales the monster. Ray lands back on the ground of the boss room. The skeleton demon uses its own magic to summon even more imps from the shadows. Ray understands the boss can summon these creatures whenever it wants. Another imp charges toward him. He thinks this situation would normally be very problematic, but now he knows it is convenient for his goals. He confidently charges forward and eliminates the imp with another quick strike. The system notifies him he has leveled up to 28. Ray realizes the boss could provide an infinite source of experience if it keeps summoning. Another system notification then catches his attention. The message informs him his mana mastery has reached the required point. Because of this achievement, the synthesis skill unlocks. The skeleton demon seems to sense this change. It loses its composure and starts screaming loudly in rage. Ray prepares his Ice Stake skill in one hand and his Fireball skill in the other. He activates his new synthesis skill and begins fusing the two elements together. He jumps toward the boss, channeling all his power into a new form. He attacks using the newly created Fire Spear skill. The skeleton demon reacts by using its mana barrier. A powerful clash happens between the two forces. The boss's mana barrier begins to crack under the pressure. Ray manages to break through it completely. He uses his body enhancement skill next. He delivers a powerful punch directly to the skeleton demon's face. The boss becomes dazed from the strong blow. Ray thinks the magical protections are now gone. Without thinking twice, he delivers his Fire Spear strike at the exposed monster. The spear of fire completely burns the skeleton demon. The boss drops a large mana stone upon its defeat. The system notifies Ray that he has leveled up several times, reaching level 33. Ray thinks about his synthesis skill an advanced technique that combines different skills to create stronger ones, usually usable around level 30. He picks up the valuable drop and sits for a moment to rest. He admits to himself he had doubts about winning. A new system message states the required level was reached. The limit for skills acquired through skill stealing has now increased. The available skill slots increased to 5. Ray feels happy about this development. He thinks things will become even more convenient. After some time, he leaves the dungeon and returns to the agency entrance. He hands in the mana stone from the skeleton demon. Proctor Hinata looks very impressed. She expresses great surprise, asking if he really defeated the skeleton demon alone. She becomes even more shocked to learn Ray is already at level 33 after just one day. Ray feels embarrassed and comments he believes it was just luck. Hinata becomes a little suspicious. She states that leveling past 30 in a single day is not simple luck and is beyond normal understanding. Ray only gives an awkward laugh in response. The proctor emphasizes that with his current level, he can become a rank B mage immediately. Kurosaki Kai arrives at the agency at that moment. He seems surprised to see his brother there. He asks with arrogance if his brother is really a rank B mage, adding he does not think a mere little dog could achieve such a feat. Ray feels very angry hearing these words. Kai then tells Proctor Hinata that Ray is incapable of using a single skill. He reminds her Ray is completely colorless and demands to know if she is truly claiming his brother is now rank B. Hinata replies she is not making that claim directly. She states instead that Ray defeated a red cap and the skeleton demon alone. Kai does not like hearing this and gives his brother a very nasty look. He demands to know if the story is really true and throws a powerful punch at his brother. The force causes a magical explosion at the agency entrance, frightening the people around. However, the punch is completely blocked by a sudden, glowing mana barrier. Ray stands unharmed behind it. He laughs and tells his brother he needs to be more careful, as that was dangerous. Proctor Hinata shouts at Kai. She tells him firmly to stop causing trouble at the association. Kai tells Ray it seems true he has awakened some skills. Ray confirms this is the case. Kai makes it clear that having one skill is no reason for excitement. He begins channeling his immense purple mana to emphasize his point. He states he will see for himself if Ray is truly capable. Hinata becomes very worried by this declaration. She shouts to ask if Kai is really planning to fight inside the building. Kai explains that if his incompetent brother reached rank beyond real merit, a test would not be a problem. He directly asks Ray if the skills used to reach rank B were all lies. Ray clenches his fist tightly in response. He thinks refusing his brother's challenge would only delay the inevitable problem. He states aloud that he already understands and accepts. Kai does not like this defiant attitude and calls Ray a damn insolent person. The two brothers move to a dedicated training arena within the association. Ray thinks carefully, knowing he must be cautious of Kai's greater mana control. He cannot let his guard down. At level 33, his combo is limited to 3 skills. Kai is level 50, with a combo of about 5 skills. Relying on numbers alone means defeat. Ray must reduce that gap. Ray strikes first with Ice Stake. Kai counters with Fireballs. The skills collide, causing an explosion. Kai is surprised to see Ray charge through the smoke using body enhancement. Kai notes the yellow mana, commenting Ray is a 2-color wielder. Ray calculates Kai's mana. After a 4th skill, he should have mana for only 1 more. Ray prepares skill synthesis, creates a fire spear, and charges. Kai observes the merged blue and red mana, suggesting Ray might be a 3-color mage. A sinister smile appears. Kai launches a basic fireball that slams Ray into the ground. Ray is frightened and confused. His synthesized skill lost to a basic one. Kai states they exist on different levels. He prepares fireball again and shouts for Ray to dance, launching several rapid fireballs. Ray runs to avoid them. While running, he throws another fire spear. Kai counters with a basic fireball that neutralizes the spear and continues forward. Ray erects a mana barrier, but Kai's fireball breaks it and throws him down again. Kai laughs. He makes a dismissive gesture, telling Ray to bow his head and beg forgiveness. Ray sweats, knowing he cannot win with his current skills and mana. He remembers his life of submission but feels a new resolve. He stands with defiant confidence and shouts he will not bow. Kai states he understands and says Ray wants to learn the hard way. He activates Overclock on his fireball, consuming huge mana to double his control capacity. He creates 10 large fireballs simultaneously, declaring this the true power of a king. Ray feels intrigued. He recognizes this dominant strength and knows Kai temporarily uses absurd mana. Yet, Ray shouts a warning that he was waiting for this specific skill. Ray charges directly at his brother. Kai laughs and calls him an idiot for trying to dodge midair. He launches all 10 fireballs toward the airborne target. Ray activates his mana hand technique instantly. He throws the magical hand at the ground far behind him instead of at Kai. Kai cannot believe his brother used another skill mid-maneuver. Ray thinks 10 consecutive attacks are worthless if he can avoid them. He knows his brother still has a cooldown period. He uses the mana hand stuck in the ground to pull himself rapidly through the air, changing direction to land behind Kai. He turns quickly and plants his foot firmly. He lands a powerful punch directly in Kai's face. He knows Kai is defenseless in the brief moment after his large attack. The punch throws Kai hard onto the ground. The system notifies Ray. He successfully stole the overclock skill. Ray thinks with his brother's strongest skill taken, Kai has nowhere to run. Kai tries to stand up, shouting insults. Ray feels surprised. Kai will continue fighting. Kai becomes truly enraged and states his clear intention to eliminate Ray. He creates an ice stake and combines it with a fireball's flames. This synthesis creates his powerful demonic spear skill. Ray cannot believe what he sees. He recognizes this as one of the strongest purple skills. He wonders if his brother learned it so early. He has no time to think as the attack comes straight for him. He jumps aside at the last second to avoid it. Kai does not care about the miss. He prepares 2 more demonic spears immediately. Ray realizes he only landed a hit earlier because his brother underestimated him. Now the serious Purple King is far beyond his reach. Ray jumps back quickly to avoid the spears. He does not realize his movements have backed him to the arena's edge. He is now cornered against the wall. Kai makes it clear he has not reached his limit yet. He asks if Ray understands that fact. Ray sees no escape route. He uses his own fire spear skill as Kai throws another demonic spear. The 2 attacks collide in the arena's center. A huge explosion results from the impact. The force throws Ray hard against the wall behind him. Ray tries desperately to stay on his feet. Kai states this power is why he is called the Purple King and proof he is the strongest. Ray breathes heavily and thinks his brother is right about the demonic spear's strength. Kai tells him not to act boastful just for using several colors. Hearing these words gives Ray a new idea. He looks at his own hand and knows he does not compare to his brother currently. He clenches his fist tightly. He questions himself about finding the true potential of purple skills. He keeps watching Kai from across the arena. He thinks about his own limitations until now. He was limited to synthesizing only 2 colors due to his mana capacity. He decides to test a new possibility. He activates the overclock skill he stole from his brother. Kai cannot believe what he is seeing. He wonders if it is really possible for Ray to use his signature technique. A system screen appears before Ray's eyes. He thinks his mana capacity has now doubled temporarily. The system notifies him his mana capacity increased due to overclock's effect. It also announces the black synthesis skill has been unlocked. Ray feels excited about unlocking this new skill at the most critical moment. Kai prepares another fireball while watching carefully. He wonders what Ray is planning. Ray observes the power flow into his hand. He knows this is the 3-color synthesis no one has ever achieved before. He begins to merge a red skill with a blue skill and finally a yellow skill. The fusion forms a new dark power called Abyssal Flame. Kai cannot believe his eyes. He is seeing black mana power for the first time. Ray reflects on the 3 basic mana colors, blue, red, and yellow. He has always heard he was not suited for any of them. Now, he knows that was not true. He has consumed this new mana. He realizes he is the ultimate black mage. Kai feels deep worry as his brother charges forward. He launches another skill and shouts for Ray to stay away. Ray ignores the warning and moves directly against the attack. He watches carefully and recognizes the right moment to make his move. He uses his own power to completely dissipate his brother's skill. He keeps charging ahead without slowing down. Kai continues to shout that such a thing is impossible. Ray keeps advancing with steady determination. Kai's worry increases, and he tries to create another demonic spear. Before he can throw it, Ray closes the distance between them. Ray prepares his Abyssal Flame attack once more. Both skills collide at close range. Kai cannot believe his powerful skill is useless against the black flames. Another explosion rocks the arena. Ray waits for the dust to settle after the blast. The air clears to show Kai fallen on the ground, defeated. Ray feels very exhausted from the effort. He falls to his knees, thinking he has finally defeated his brother. A system notification then appears. It informs him the Abyssal Flame skill is officially obtained through black synthesis. Ray considers the tremendous power he now holds. Proctor Hinata opens the arena door and rushes inside. She immediately asks Ray if he is okay. He feels a little embarrassed and replies that he is fine. Hinata expresses great surprise at what she witnesses. She demands to know what skill he has just used. Ray understands. He can no longer hide his true situation. He extends his hand and channels the new power. He comments that the skill appears to be a black one. Hinata feels very surprised by this information. She states this could make him the first black mage in the world. Ray asks if he will be forced to report this to the association. He expresses a desire to keep this power a secret if possible. Hinata becomes confused by his request. She emphasizes that hiding it means losing a great opportunity. Ray does not understand and asks her to explain more clearly. Hinata explains that the strongest mage of each color receives the title of king. Since Rei is the only black mage, he would be considered the Black King. Rei thinks about her words carefully. He finally says he is not interested in that title for now. He believes his level will not suddenly rise just by becoming a king. He looks over at his defeated brother on the ground. He asks Hinata if Kai will be okay. Hinata assures him Kai is a king and will recover quickly despite his injuries. She states she will still take him to the medical wing. Both of their phones receive an alert message at that moment. Rei cannot believe what he is reading. The alert is for a dungeon that appears at the west entrance of Ikebukuro Park. The recommended level is 70. Hinata also cannot believe the high-level alert. Rei knows the time has come because he remembers this event. This is the Ikebukuro dungeon from his previous life. Its recommended level is 70. Most kings are only around level 50 at this time. In the first week, they realize their weakness and abandon the dungeon. This abandonment is the starting point of a great tragedy. A dungeon break occurs when it is not conquered in time. Rei knows that at this time, such a phenomenon is still unknown. If a dungeon is not cleared within a certain time, monsters pour out of the portal. The Ikebukuro dungeon is the first recorded break in history. Because of it, the city of Tokyo becomes filled with monsters, and many people die. Rei knows he cannot allow that tragedy to repeat. He needs to stop the dungeon collapse somehow. He tells Hinata he will conquer the Ikebukuro dungeon. Hinata feels very surprised and says it is still too dangerous for him. She explains that only mages of at least rank A are allowed to enter dungeons with a recommended level above 50. Rei thinks he is lucky because there is still some time before the collapse. He asks if the next rank A exam is the following week. Hinata, feeling intrigued, confirms it is. Rei declares he will reach rank A in time for that exam. Hinata feels surprised but agrees with Rei's plan. She states that with his skills, passing the rank A exam should be no problem. Rei wants to know if there are any other obstacles. Hinata explains the requirement for the promotion exam. To take the rank A test, a mage must first clear a rank B dungeon in a group. This means Rei needs to find a party and clear such a dungeon within 1 week. Some time passes after this conversation. Rei feels completely devastated and without hope. He realizes he forgot all about Hinata's warning regarding forming a group. He checks the messages on his phone. Several people have replied to his inquiries, all asking why they would join a complete colorless. Rei thinks the news of his supposed lack of ability has already spread widely. He knows he has only 1 week to explore an uncharted rank B dungeon. He believes clearing it alone would be very difficult. He takes a deep breath, wondering what to do next. He then hears someone shouting at another person nearby. A woman stands with 2 friends, speaking very rudely to a 4th person. The woman tells the other girl she will make her work hard. Rei watches the 3 of them bullying the other and wonders what is happening. The woman states she allowed the girl to join their party because she heard she was a 2-color wielder. She says the girl's fire skill is complete garbage. The girl, named Ichinos, offers an apology. Rei stands up from his seat. He feels uncomfortable watching this scene because he was treated the same way not long ago. The woman continues being rude. She tells Ichinos she is nothing but dead weight on the team. Rei feels a shock upon hearing the name Ichinos. He remembers that in the future, this girl becomes known as the Scarlet Queen, a very powerful mage. Currently, she is still considered incompetent. He never imagined she suffered this kind of treatment from her own group. Ichinos pleads with the woman. She says if she is kicked out of the group, she cannot cover her sister's medical expenses. She shouts that she will do her best next time. The woman tells Ichinos to prove it during their upcoming raid. Otherwise, she will end up on the street. Ichinos agrees and promises to do her best. The group then starts to leave. Rei keeps watching, concerned about whether things will be okay. Later, Rei heads back to his house. He feels quite intrigued by what he saw. Ichinos will become the Scarlet Queen in a few years. Before reaching that point, she apparently went through many hardships. He remembers a key incident from his previous life. Around this same time, Ichinos was seriously injured during a boss battle and fell into a coma for several years. As he thinks about this, he makes a connection. He wonders if that serious injury will happen during the very raid she mentioned. He is not completely sure, but the situation does not seem normal. He concludes he should hurry to the dungeon. Sometime later, inside the rank B dungeon, Ichinos' group stands before the boss room. The boss is a level 45 Dullahan. It drives its huge sword into the ground. The woman from the group smiles and says she has an idea. She pushes Ichinos forward and tells her to face the boss alone. Ichinos feels terrified. She states there is no way to defeat a Dullahan alone. The woman replies that if that is the case, Ichinos should pack her bags and leave the group. Ichinos says no and that she will try. The woman says she hopes Ichinos gives her best, asking if she will do all this for her little sister. Ichinos becomes thoughtful but soon turns to the boss. She replies that she understands. Ichinos trembles all over but still prepares her fireball skill. She throws it at the Dullahan. The attack has no effect on the creature, which just stands still. Ichinos becomes very worried seeing her skill fail. The Dullahan jumps high into the air and comes down, striking its attack on the ground. The strong impact throws Ichinose far away. While lying on the ground, she sees the boss coming for her. The Dullahan approaches to strike a final blow. Ichinose closes her eyes, thinking she truly is useless. Someone arrives, shouting while using the extreme body enhancement skill. Rei appears and prevents the attack. Ichinose feels very surprised while Rei throws the Dullahan hard against a wall. He then turns to her and asks if she is okay. Ichinose's group watches Rei from a distance. Their leader demands to know who he is. She knows the Dullahan is a heavy-type monster, yet Rei threw it with one blow. She becomes frightened and urgently wants to know his identity. The Dullahan stands up and lets out a piercing roar. Rei thinks this was expected. As his blow was not enough to defeat it, he observes Dullahan and notices its armor has a reinforcement ability. Normal attacks cannot penetrate it. He charges forward and dodges the boss's attack. He plans to steal its ability to nullify the armor. He uses his skill absorption technique. The skill fails to activate on the Dullahan. Rei receives a blow that throws him backward. Ichinose asks if he is okay. Rei replies that he is fine, stating he blocked it with his sword. He realizes Dullahan's armor is merely an external part. He needs to touch the creature's inner body to steal the skill. The Dullahan raises its huge sword for a powerful attack aimed at Rei. Rei shouts for Ichinose to stay back. He activates a magic barrier, blocking the creature's strike. The shockwave is so great it throws the two other party girls away. Their leader activates her skill and launches an ice stake. The Dullahan counterattacks, completely destroying the ice stake. The woman cannot believe it and is hit by the attack. She is thrown hard against a wall. Rei sees the ice stake fail. He prepares his skill synthesis. He needs a skill that will surpass Dullahan's reinforcement power. Ichinose is very surprised to see Rei using black mana. Rei prepares his attack as the Dullahan does the same. The boss attacks first, its blow going straight for Rei. Rei waits for the attack to get closer. He immediately uses his Abyssal Flame skill, completely dissipating the Dullahan's strike. Due to its power, the black flame continues toward the creature. The Dullahan is hit head-on. Its armor begins to crack, and a huge explosion happens around it. With nothing left to do, the Dullahan is defeated and drops an item before disappearing. Ichinose is very surprised. Rei defeated the Dullahan with one blow. She observes him and thinks he is amazing. She thanks him for saving her life. Rei says he is happy to see she is fine. He picks up the dropped item. He thinks he managed to save Ichinose from her destined coma. The group leader stands up and shouts, demanding to know what is happening. She feels apprehensive, thinking the boy is really strong. She gives a sinister smile, thinking the dungeon reward should be hers. She approaches them and tells them to wait. She makes it clear the reward goes to the person who registered for the dungeon. She demands Rei hand over the mana stone. Ichinose asks her to wait, stating Rei saved everyone. Rei emphasizes he does not mind giving her the drop, but in exchange, he wants Ichinose to be part of his group. This request leaves both Ichinose and the leader confused. Rei smiles and looks at Ichinose. He stresses he only wants this if she agrees. The group leader starts laughing, saying she was worried about his demand. She states she accepts his request. She puts her hand on Ichinose's shoulder and asks if she accepts. Ichinose feels hesitant but replies she is in his care from now on. The leader quickly grabs the mana stone from Rei's hand. While leaving, she comments she never thought she would get so much money from dead weight. Rei does not like her comment. Knowing who Ichinose will become, he can hardly wait to see the leader's face when it happens. Ichinose thanks Rei for the invitation. Rei becomes embarrassed and apologizes for making her leave her group so suddenly. He wants to know if she is sure everything is okay. She replies she is just a burden. She is surprised when Rei says it is okay. He extends his hand and tells her she will become much stronger than those who just abandoned her. Ichinose asks Rei if she will really become strong. Rei nods to imply yes. He then explains that before going to the dungeon, he saw her at the association and overheard her entire conversation. Ichinose remembers the embarrassing scene and feels a little sad. Rei notices her mood and quickly apologizes. He states it was a coincidence, but he thinks he can help her. He says this and extends his hand to her once more. Ichinose feels a little reluctant but soon replies that it is okay and she is in his care. Rei feels happy to hear this. He takes her hand and comments that he feels the same way. The next day, they go to the entrance of a new dungeon. Rei stretches and comments it is time to conquer a rank B dungeon. Ichinose asks if conquering this dungeon will allow them to take the rank A exam. Rei confirms that is exactly the goal, but he emphasizes it is not just that. He explains that inside this specific dungeon there is a key that can make her stronger. Ichinose feels intrigued about this key. She thinks that if she gets stronger and raises her rank, she can gather money for her sister's medical expenses. She raises her head and tells Rei they should move forward. Both enter the Rank B Crystal Cave dungeon. Something soon catches Ichinos's attention. She quickly points ahead, showing Rei several black wolves. Rei steps forward and tells her to leave it to him. He uses body enhancement and charges at the creatures. He lands his first blow on one wolf and uses his incredible speed to eliminate several more very quickly. Ichinos feels impressed watching Rei fight. She thinks her previous group, the Isoyama team, was strong. Seeing Rei's way of fighting, she believes he is on another level. She concludes her old group is not even close to his skill. After dealing with the wolves, they keep walking through the cave. Rei turns to her and explains their objective there. He promises her his full support. Ichino steps forward and replies that she understands. She positions herself for battle. She thinks defeating many monsters is the strategy to level up quickly. She keeps in mind she can only use basic attacks at first. Several more creatures approach. Ichinos thinks she needs to try to change her approach. She casts her fireball at the approaching monsters. Rei watches her fight from a distance. He thinks this is a test for Ichinos, but he really wants to see if she will realize her true weapon. He then notices some creatures approaching from behind her. Rei equips his sword. He makes it clear to the monsters he will not allow them to interfere. Ichinos keeps fighting alone but does not notice one creature behind her. She ends up being attacked. She looks around and thinks that no matter how many she defeats, more keep appearing. She takes a deep breath and reflects that if she continues at this pace, her mana will run out quickly. A new idea comes to her mind. She immediately turns and sees Rei fighting other monsters. Watching him in action, she knows he is trying to make things easier for her. She concludes she needs to stop lamenting and must meet his expectations. She prepares her fireball again and keeps eliminating monsters whenever she can. She starts leveling up several times from the experience. While casting her skill, she begins to notice her mana is not running out. Rei notices this change too. He thinks this was expected. He remembers that Ichinos is built for long battles, and her greatest weapon is her enormous mana pool. A system notification appears for Ichinos at that moment. She feels very surprised by what she sees. The system notifies her that the skill furnace has been unlocked. Soon after, they reach the boss's room of the Crystal Cave. The boss is the Great Slime, a level 52 monster. Rei steps forward and charges at the creature. While striking his attacks, he shouts for Ichinos to use the skill she just unlocked. Without hesitation, she activates Furnace, and her body becomes enveloped by an intense flame. She feels very surprised by this and wonders if this is really her power. Rei watches her and thinks about the Furnace skill. It increases the firepower of her abilities in exchange for a high mana cost. He knows this suits Ichinos perfectly because of her huge mana reserves. Ichinos casts her fireball ability, now intensified by the Furnace, and it is an instant kill. Rei feels very impressed with her new power. He thinks she is even more incredible now. He knows that with her tremendous mana combined with Furnace, she will definitely become the Scarlet Queen. Rei tells her that she did a great job. Ichinos says she was very surprised at first, then laughs and makes it clear this is all thanks to him. They then leave the dungeon, and Ichinos comments they finally completed the condition to participate in the Rank A exam. Rei replies yes. He thinks that finally it is time for his promotion, and he will achieve it no matter the cost. On the day of the Rank A promotion exam, Proctor Hinata explains the process will first evaluate each candidate's combat potential before simulated battles. Rei feels he has finally reached this crucial test and knows he must pass to become a Rank A mage. While walking through the agency, Rei tells Ichinos it is almost time. She replies they will both do their best. He emphasizes the initial evaluation of potential. Someone arrives and states they never imagined an incompetent like Ichinos would take the exam. Ichinos is startled to see it as Demon Isoyama and her group. Ichinos wants to know what she wants, but Rei steps forward. He makes it clear his friend would never lose to someone who sends another person alone to the front line. Isoyama does not like that comment. She says Rei can say whatever he wants and turns to emphasize her group has the best members, unlike Ichinos. She introduces Aono Yuri, stating neither Rei nor Ichinos will ever defeat her. Rei feels surprised, wondering if this is the Aono Yuri from his past life. He remembers she once completed a very difficult dungeon alone without realizing it, making her name well known. He thinks her ability should be around Rank A currently. Aono Yuri quickly approaches Rei. She calls him and comments he seems interesting. Rei feels a little surprised. Ichinos notices and asks if something is strange. Aono Yuri hears Rei's name and feels intrigued. She asks if he is Kurosaki Kai's brother, having heard the Purple King was defeated by someone. She points at Rei and asks if he was the one. Rei thinks she is very well informed. Ichinos cannot believe what she heard and asks her friend if it is true. Aono Yuri turns away, saying she does not care about that. She emphasizes it is not as if Rei could defeat her. She leaves, stating a rumor is circulating about the Purple King maybe not being a real match. Rei smiles and thinks Aono is a very intriguing person. Later at the training field, an examiner explains the evaluation will use an artificial golem made with a special, strong stone. Everyone should give their best. He calls Kurosaki Rei first. Rei approaches, and the golem enters battle mode. Rei prepares his fireball. Some people laugh, wondering if he will use fire magic against a golem. While charging, Rei knows ordinary fire magic cannot defeat it. He dodges the golem's attack and prepares skill synthesis. He unleashes a fire lance. It hits the golem in the head, opens a large hole, and makes it fall. The examiner confirms the golem's destruction. The people who laughed cannot believe it, wondering if it was a two-colored attack. Aono Yuri states, Rei fused fire with blue mana to increase his fire magic's power. Next, Ichinos is at the mana evaluation. The examiner asks her to put her hands on a crystal to assess her mana quantity. Isoyama comments Ichinos should be ashamed. After placing her hand, Ichinos releases an incredible amount of power. Isoyama and the others are left open-mouthed in disbelief. Isoyama starts thinking Ichinos must be cheating, unable to believe she has that much mana. The simulated battle test begins soon after. The examiner announces the first battle is between Ichinos and Isoyama. Ichinos takes a deep breath to focus. Isoyama thinks she will show everyone Ichinos is a fraud. The instructor shouts for them to start. Isoyama wastes no time and casts her ice stake magic. Ichinos waits for the attack to get closer. She prepares her fireball and throws it at the ice stakes. The skills collide in a huge explosion that completely shatters the ice. Isoyama is shocked. She states she never expected Ichinos to have such firepower and demands to know what is happening. Ichinos does not want to prolong things. She prepares her fireball again, which scares Isoyama. Ichinos casts her skill, but Isoyama uses her magic barrier to block. Isoyama shouts for Ichinos not to underestimate her while blocking. She thinks Ichinos is an idiot because her attack is too simple and plans to wait for her to finish before counterattacking. However, the attacks keep coming without stopping. Isoyama finds it strange and wonders why Ichinos has not stopped. Rei watches his friend fight. He knows once Ichinos with her massive mana starts an attack, a simple magic barrier will not stop her. Ichinos intensifies her attacks. Isoyama's magic barrier starts to crack and soon breaks completely. This forces Isoyama to run to avoid being hit. Explosion debris hits Isoyama's head hard and knocks her out. The instructor announces Ichinos as the winner. She feels very happy to have defeated Isoyama. Rei goes to her and congratulates her, highlighting it was a beautiful battle. Ichinos, feeling excited, comments this is too good to be true. She wishes Rei good luck. Someone then approaches. Rei thanks her and sees who his opponent will be. The instructor shouts for Kurosaki Rei and Aono Yuri to get ready. Rei comments that his simulated battle opponent is Aono Yuri. He thinks the fight will be very interesting. Aono points her finger at Rei. She asks if there is a reason for him to take the exam because he seems more prepared than other participants. Rei states he has something very important he needs to do. He gets serious and makes it clear that is why he cannot lose. Aono becomes thoughtful but soon smiles. She releases her power and states she is very strong, asking if Rei knows this. Rei grabs his sword and replies he knows very well but still wants to win. Aono comments she already expected that and thinks he is an interesting person. The instructor shouts for the two to start the battle. Aono uses her skill and states she will attack first. She launches her ability at Rei. He tries to defend himself by countering the strikes. While defending, he thinks her mana conversion is a rare skill that allows free manipulation of mana. He notices an attack from above and quickly jumps aside to avoid it. Aono laughs and states he did well to dodge. Rei does not care and charges at her. She states she cannot allow him to reach her so easily and launches more attacks. Rei uses his magic barrier to block them and delivers a counterattack, but she dodges. Rei tries to take advantage of her being in the air. He uses his skill synthesis and throws his fire lance. Aono creates a shield with her mana conversion and blocks the skill. Upon landing, she comments that was close. Rei thinks her defense is flawless and she is as strong as expected. Ichinos feels very apprehensive, watching the fierce fight. Aono prepares another skill and launches it, asking Rei what he thinks. Rei has to run to avoid the attacks and thinks this is a real problem. Aono asks if Rei thinks he can defeat her by running. She fires her skill again in his direction and states it is checkmate. Rei uses extreme body enhancement and counters all the incoming attacks. Aono watches closely and realizes he uses body enhancement. She gets very excited and starts smiling. She states it is the first time she has seen someone with 3 colors of mana. She makes it clear she can also use body enhancement. After using the skill, she creates a mana blade and states they will settle this. She quickly advances and appears right behind Rei, ready to strike. Rei turns at the last moment and repels the blow. He thinks she is very fast. Ayano does not care and starts delivering several consecutive attacks with her mana blade. Rei defends as best he can until she strikes with more force, forcing him to jump aside. Rei realizes her power is absurd. He moves very quickly close to her and grabs her arm. She states that was a terrible choice. Ayano feels something strange and becomes confused. The system notifies Rei that her extreme body enhancement has been absorbed. She jumps aside, realizing her power is fading. Rei takes advantage of the opening and advances. He lands a direct hit on her. Ayano coughs from the strong impact. Before falling, she states Rei was hiding his power. She falls to the ground. The instructor announces Rei as the winner of the simulated battle. Later, in a medical wing, Ayano begins to wake up. Rei feels happy to see her awake. Ayano comments she truly lost the battle. Rei emphasizes he did not expect her to be so strong. She asks if he is really about to brag about the promotion. Rei becomes serious and states he will be honest. He asks what she thinks about joining his group. Ayano feels very surprised by the sudden invitation. Rei states, according to the battle result, she was also promoted to rank A. He emphasizes that to conquer the most difficult dungeons, he needs her power. Rei feels confused when he sees Ayano laughing. She soon stops laughing and states he really is an interesting guy. She says it is fine, and thinks things may become more interesting if she follows him. They shake hands, and she states she is under his care. Just then, a strong tremor suddenly happens. Ichinos feels very frightened and wonders if it is an earthquake. Rei looks outside, and wonders if it is what he thinks it is. Elsewhere, Kronos, the god of time and space, who is still completely sealed, smiles and mutters the time has finally come. Back with Rei and his group, the strong tremor finally stops. Aya Ichinos wonders if it is really over. Rei keeps thinking about the earthquake. He remembers from his previous life that many tremors preceded the Ikebukuro dungeon's collapse. He knows they are now reaching the time limit for that catastrophic event. He also knows the dungeon's difficulty is unprecedented for this era. He tells Aya and Ono Yuri he has something important to say. After explaining the impending disaster, he remembers. Aya feels very surprised. She asks if he is serious about conquering the hardest dungeon on the peninsula with just the three of them. Ayano Yuri asks if Rei suggests this because of the earthquake. Rei becomes serious and replies, yes. He explains his bad feeling, citing many recent reports about irregular monster appearances. He thinks it seems like a prelude to something more threatening. Ayano states she is fine with any situation Rei decides to face and finds it an interesting challenge. Aya fills herself with confidence and promises to try her best not to be a burden. Rei breathes a sigh of relief and thanks them both. He declares they will conquer the Ikebukuro dungeon. The next day at the Mage Association, someone calls for Proctor Hinata. It is Rei and his group. Rei states they want to conquer the Ikebukuro dungeon. Later, in front of the dungeon entrance, Ano comments she is excited to face a dungeon with a recommended level above 70. Aya suggests it would be better to work with other mages. Rei says that is impossible because no rank A mages can be dispatched immediately. He states it would be nice if someone named Oikawa were there. Rei remembers from before his regression that Oikawa was the highest ranked mage in Japan and would be a great help. He knows if the dungeon collapses again, Kronos will appear. He needs to prevent that. He tells the two they should go right away. Aono raises her hand and asks a favor first. She wants Rei to call her by her first name, Yuri, finding her last name too formal. Aya thinks the same and asks Rei to consider it. Aya smiles and asks if they are not all friends. Rei likes hearing that and agrees. He calls out to Aya and Yuri to conquer the dungeon together. As soon as they enter, Rei notices a level 71 skull demon ahead. The creature quickly notices their presence. Rei prepares himself, thinking this is a boss monster elsewhere but a normal enemy here. He calls out to Aya and Yuri. The two immediately shout they are ready. The three charge at the creature. It creates a mana barrier. Rei uses his skill synthesis, knowing they must destroy the barrier first. He casts his fire lance and sees a single hit is not enough. He shouts for the other two to act. He jumps aside while Yuri and Aya prepare their skills. Their attacks clash with the skull demon's barrier and finally break it. Rei runs to take advantage and strikes the demon, defeating it. It drops a mana stone. Rei is happy they defeated the dungeon's first creature. He goes to his friends and compliments their timing. Yuri comments she has wondered about something since their fight. She asks how Rei can use so many skills. He feels a little surprised, but explains he has a skill called Skill Steal. They feel confused and ask for clarity. Rei says that just by touching an opponent, he can steal their skill. Yuri remembers their battle and understands now. Rei adds he already returned the skill to her. Aya is impressed, asking if he can really do that. She understands his plan better now. Rei calls for them to continue. Aya thinks that as long as Rei is there, they will be fine and she will not be a burden. The group keeps defeating creatures as they advance. They soon reach the boss room. Aya, feeling apprehensive, comments the ground's rumble is getting louder. She knows boss monsters are strong and worries if they will be okay. Restates everyone's level rose on the way, so it should be possible. Aya agrees but stands still for a moment. She thinks it is true. Rei gets stronger after each fight and Yuri is getting used to combat. She knows she needs to support them. Suddenly, something crashes hard on the ground right behind Aya. Rei and Yuri turn around, scared. Something moves quickly toward Aya. With little she can do, she is grabbed and taken away. They shout in concern for her. The thing that took Aya is the enormous boss of the Ikebukuro dungeon, the level 89 Reaper. Rei feels very scared. He knows the boss should not be able to leave its own room. He wonders what is happening. Meanwhile, in his sealed domain, Chronos only grins. Yuri asks if Rei thinks this is something bad. Rei agrees the situation is critical but shouts they must save Aya no matter what happens. Meanwhile, in his sealed domain, Chronos observes events with interest. He notes that with his current limit he can only release such monsters and hopes Rei and others become his first victims. Back there, Rei shouts for Aya to hold on. She answers from within the tentacles that she is somehow okay, able to block attacks but not escape. She feels upset at being a burden. Rei notices the mana barrier she conjured around herself. He knows even her great mana has a limit. He observes her from afar and knows he needs his abyssal flame but worries about hitting her. He must find another way. He tells Yuri he will draw the boss's tentacles away so she can save Aya. Yuri agrees, stating she has no other choice. The two charge at the boss. It tries to strike Rei, but he dodges at the last moment. The destructive power of a normal attack frightens him. He knows he cannot afford a direct hit. After landing, a tentacle bursts from the ground toward him. Aya feels frightened for Rei. He uses his mana hand to grab a wall and pull himself sideways. Dodging it, he thinks that was too close. Yuri comments the distraction is enough. She jumps near Aya and strikes an imprisoning tentacle with her mana blade. Both Rei and Yuri feel surprised next. The boss uses a strengthening skill on one tentacle. The reinforced appendage forces Yuri to retreat. Rei goes to her and asks if she is okay. Yuri replies yes. Facing the boss together, she mentions something seems strange. Rei agrees. He thinks tentacle monsters normally have low defense and never have strengthening skills. The creature also leaving its room is abnormal. He truly thinks something is wrong. Chronos continues observing from his seal. Rei notices the boss preparing its next attack. He comments they have no time to think. Both he and Yuri defend themselves from the relentless tentacle attacks. Aya watches and thinks everything is her fault for always relying on Rei. She hits her barrier in frustration, knowing she needs to help. Yuri tries to apply more force but loses her mana blade. She states things are getting complicated. Rei starts to worry as both their mana pools near exhaustion. He looks at Aya and thinks things would be different with full mana. A new idea comes to him. He shouts for Aya to use her mana fusion skill. Aya feels confused. Yuri asks if that skill is not useless due to high mana cost. As they defend, Rei remembers from his past life that mana fusion was considered useless until a certain mage proved its value. That mage was Aya in his previous life. Aya thinks about mana fusion. She never used it, thinking it useless. But if Rei asks, she decides to believe him fully. She activates mana fusion without delay. Energy flows from her to Rei and Yuri. Yuri is surprised to feel her mana restoring. Rei feels excited. He knows mana fusion shares the user's mana and requires a huge pool to master. Aya is impressed she can share mana. Seeing her friends only defending, she knows it is not enough. She concludes her barrier is the problem. She quickly dispels her mana barrier. Rei feels very frightened and shouts, asking why she dispelled her barrier. The boss's tentacles immediately grab her. While trying to resist, Aya activates her furnace skill. The furnace skill amplifies the power of her mana fusion on her friends. Rei shouts, worried about Aya. Aya, almost without strength, says she leaves the rest to them. The boss's tentacles completely wrap around her. Rei becomes very serious. He calls to Yuri, and without another word, they both charge at the creature with everything they have. Yuri thinks about Aya's great dedication and knows she must do the same. Rei thanks his friend internally for granting them more strength. The two go straight to where Aya is held. With their powers replenished, they easily cut through the boss's tentacles as if they were nothing. Rei shouts that now they can forge the path they want. Rei continues clearing a path toward Aya. He reflects that her mana fusion skill recovered their mana and enhanced their abilities, allowing them to pierce the enemy's defenses. He calls to Yuri and states they will save Aya with their next move. Aya, meanwhile, is almost out of strength and remains completely trapped. Rei struggles to advance through the boss's tentacles and is forced to retreat briefly. He fears at this pace they will not reach her in time. Yuri calls out to Rei, and states clearly she will open a path for him. She shapes her ability and creates a staircase of mana leading toward Aya. Without hesitation, Rei starts running up it. He thanks Yuri internally for her clever move. But the boss refuses to allow his advance and attacks with more tentacles. This time, Rei activates his body enhancement and dashes forward at high speed. He cuts through the tentacles as if they were nothing. He reaches Aya, picks her up in his arms, and jumps away to safety. He looks back to see if the boss will attack them in the air. Seeing no movement, he lands with Aya and asks if she is okay. Aya laughs weakly and says she already expected him to save her. Rei feels happy to see she is fine. Yuri goes to Aya and thanks her for saving everyone by restoring their mana. She remarks that Aya is very brave. Aya smiles and thanks Yuri but then turns toward the boss. She states she does not think they are done yet. Then, something strange happens with the severed tentacles at that moment. They all begin to regenerate rapidly. The boss then launches its tentacles toward the group, forcing them to jump back. Rei comments it will be a big problem if the monster keeps regenerating. One tentacle bursts from the ground and tries to hit Yuri, but she dodges and counterattacks it. She then yells at Rei, wanting to know his plan because the situation could get much worse. In response, Rei tells her to leave things to him. Yuri states that although it is frustrating, she will leave it to him if he has a plan, but they don't have enough time. Rei stabs his sword into the ground and rushes forward at full speed, stating he will finish this soon. Yuri looks at his abandoned sword and wonders if he will attack using only his body. A tentacle attacks, but Rei dodges. He thinks the boss can regenerate even after being hit by his abyssal flame once. He activates his overclock skill, considering that doubling his firepower might work. He begins preparing his power and creates his abyssal flame. The boss does not stay still and lets out a huge roar. Rei waits for the right moment, and as soon as he sees an opening, he launches his abyssal flame at the creature. The Reaper becomes terrified seeing the powerful attack approach. Unable to do much, it is brutally struck, and a huge hole is blasted through its body. The boss is defeated and crashes hard to the ground. Rei breathes a sigh of relief, seeing his attack succeed. Elsewhere, Kronos feels very surprised to see his creature defeated. He never imagined the Reaper would be beaten. He becomes angry and, still observing them, decides to ensure none of them leave alive. Aya feels excited seeing Rei eliminate the creature. She does not notice something strange happening behind her. A strange dark power emerges from the defeated creature's body and rapidly advances toward the group. Rei senses something approaching and shouts for everyone to be careful. Rei comments it is coming from the defeated Reaper's body. Suddenly, the entire boss corpse begins releasing that strange dark energy. Rei shouts at everyone to run away immediately. He states he does not know what it is, but they must get out as fast as possible. They run from the strange energy chasing them. Rei ponders they have already prevented the dungeon from collapsing, and now he cannot die there. They see a light at the end of the tunnel and shout that it is the exit. The dark energy catches up to them. Aya, Yuri, and Rei become frightened, realizing they will not escape. Just then, a voice shouts for them to move aside, and a huge magic shield appears behind them, blocking and destroying the dark energy completely. Aya feels surprised. Rei looks to the side to see who it is. The man closes the barrier and laughs, stating they were almost attacked. Aya thanks him but asks for his identity. The man introduces himself as Oikawa Hikaru. Aya feels quite surprised to learn who he is. Oikawa asks if she knows of him. Aya tells Rei this is the person he mentioned before entering the dungeon. Rei confirms this and emphasizes Oikawa was the helper he wanted. He thinks Oikawa is currently stronger than any of them as a rank S mage. He remembers Oikawa was known as the Yellow King in his previous life. He reflects on Oikawa's barrier skill, believing it is truly powerful and prevented disaster. Oikawa explains that when he entered the dungeon, the situation looked bad, but he is glad he arrived in time. He states he was at another dungeon on a national request. Someone there informed him about the Ikebukuro situation. Rei feels intrigued about the informant but quickly remembers Proctor Hinata yelling at him for being reckless. He concludes it must have been her. Oikawa becomes serious and asks if Rei is the Purple King's brother. Rei feels surprised. Oikawa knows his brother and immediately asks if they are acquainted. Oikawa replies he has heard of Kai many times but was not very interested. He adds Rei does not need to worry about that. Rei says he understands and thanks Oikawa for the help. Oikawa laughs and says it is fine, as he did not do much. He emphasizes Rei did well in defeating the dungeon boss. At that moment, the drop left by the boss begins to shine intensely. Oikawa walks over, picks it up, and comments that a stone this large means the boss was very strong. He tosses the stone to Rei and congratulates him. Rei feels surprised and asks if he can really keep the drop. Oikawa states that regardless of what happened, Rei conquered the dungeon. Before leaving, Oikawa says he looks forward to Rei's future achievements and is sure he will become even more remarkable. After Oikawa leaves, the group feels very surprised by the entire event. Later, they all head to the Mage Association building. Aya comments that Oikawa is quite a peculiar person. Rei agrees and thinks Oikawa might just be easygoing or have too much free time. Hinata sees Rei and shouts his name with great worry. She says she was anxious because he took too long after his morning request. She adds that the dungeon he entered is recommended for level 70 and above, making it extremely dangerous. She then changes the subject and asks about their conquest progress, wondering if they cleared the area near the entrance. Rei places the boss's drop on the counter and states they completely conquered the dungeon. Both Hinata and the other proctors are shocked seeing the drop. Hinata shouts loudly, demanding to know how that is possible. Soon, people receive reports that someone conquered the Ikebukuro dungeon. They feel surprised and wonder who did it, as it is a level 70 dungeon. Elsewhere, a bald man yells for someone to schedule a meeting with the dungeon conqueror and the association. Later, Aya thinks she can finally cover her sister's medical expenses after the conquest. During a press conference interview, she expresses gratitude to Rei for inviting her. Isoyama sees Aya's interview on a large screen. One of her colleagues calls her, asking if that is really Aya. Isoyama stands completely stunned, thinking this must be a lie. Kai sees the news that his brother is the dungeon conqueror and becomes furious, calling his brother a bastard. Meanwhile, Oikawa receives a message from a mysterious person that asks if the colorless person really conquered the Ikebukuro dungeon. Oikawa confirms it with LOL and says the colorless has indeed grown stronger. Next day, Rei walks through the city and looks up at the conquered dungeon. He thinks it is good he prevented the collapse of Ikebukuro dungeon. He clenches his fist and concludes he only succeeded because of everyone's help. He thinks he needs to get stronger no matter what. 3 days pass, and back at the association, Hinata spots Rei and informs him the association is full of people talking about him lately. Rei feels embarrassed and says it's quite embarrassing. He changes the subject and asks if she has something to tell him. Hinata states his group received a special request to conquer a certain dungeon. They feel surprised. Rei wants to know why. Since they just advanced to rank A, Hinata replies that their Ikebukuro conquest is likely the reason. She shows a document and explains dungeon explorations are usually requested by mages themselves, and the association only allows such requests to a limited number. Aya gets excited and says they must be counting on Rei's strength. Rei smiles awkwardly and says no, as he was not the only one requested. He turns intrigued and wants to know who the requester is. Hinata apologizes and says her superiors ordered everything to remain secret. Yuri states that since it is an interesting mission, she wonders why they cannot accept it. Rei emphasizes it is a request made through the association, so it does not seem suspicious. Hinata tells Rei that in addition to the request, a rank S mage will accompany them. The next day, everyone gathers at the designated meeting point. Rei says the mage accompanying them will meet them there. Aya wonders what kind of person it could be. They then hear someone calling them. It is Oikawa, who arrives and states they will be working together on the dungeon conquest. Everyone feels very surprised to learn Oikawa will be joining them. After everyone enters the dungeon, Rei states he never expected Oikawa to join them. Oikawa laughs and admits he knew from the start and wanted to surprise them. He adds he is still excited because the whole world is paying attention to the conquest they will achieve together. Aya comments that Oikawa seems a very carefree person. Rei says that regardless, he knows Oikawa is a rank S mage. He calls to Oikawa, mentioning he heard about a complicated mechanism inside this dungeon. Oikawa confirms this, explaining the patrol team reported a wall of fire blocking the path. Aya feels intrigued. Hearing this, Rei wants to know how they will handle the situation. Oikawa begins showing off, stating his barrier skill will make the wall of fire nothing. Watching him brag, Rei thinks Oikawa seems friendly but wonders why he finds everything so easy. Oikawa emphasizes everyone will understand once they see him in action. He tells them to think of him as carrying them on a big ship. Something catches Rei's attention then. He sees several huge insects charging toward them. He shouts a warning to everyone about the monster wave approaching, stating they will have to fight. Rei becomes serious, thinking it is the perfect time to see a rank S mage's strength. He ends up stunned to see Oikawa trembling in a corner instead. Oikawa, shaking all over, admits he is terrible against insect-type monsters. Aya shouts at him not to say that so proudly after claiming he would carry them. Rei states clearly they have no choice but to handle it themselves. As the insects get closer, Rei shouts for everyone to get ready for battle. Aya wastes no time and activates her fireball. She throws it at the creatures. Yuri takes the opportunity to move forward, saying these insects are nothing compared to previous monsters. She activates her mana conversion and begins defeating several insects. Rei watches the remaining ones closely. He prepares his skill synthesis, creates a fire spear, and throws it, hitting multiple insects at once. Oikawa, still in the corner, feels impressed by Rei's power. Aya gets excited and says they did it. Rei agrees and comments everyone did a great job. A bit embarrassed, Oikawa walks over to them and admits he ended up being saved. While trying to explain his hatred for insects, something watches them from afar. Rei feels like he is being observed. He quickly shouts for Oikawa to be careful as several new monsters charge at him. The blonde mage becomes serious this time. He activates his skill around the wolf-like creatures. In the blink of an eye, all the creatures are severely struck. Oikawa smiles and explains this is his square box skill. He shrinks the barrier around his ability, forming a magic cube. When it falls to the ground, everyone is surprised by the skill. Oikawa picks up the small cube and states he hates surprise attacks. Rei quickly approaches him and asks for an explanation. Oikawa says his skill is called Square Box and it is one of his barrier abilities. He emphasizes it cannot be used against a very large enemy, but in return can neutralize creatures like those. He smiles, calling it quite convenient. Rei recalls hearing of it before but thinks the skill he just saw is truly amazing. Oikawa then calls everyone and says they need to keep moving. He walks away humming. Rei thinks to himself that this is the strength of a rank S mage. After walking further, they reach the fire barrier. Oikawa emphasizes this is the place reported by the superiors. Aya says it is really hot there. Rei wants to know if they really must go through it. Oikawa replies and tells everyone to stay calm because he will handle it. He creates a barrier over the wall of flames, opening a passage. He smiles and tells everyone to proceed. As they pass through, everyone finds his action amazing. Once they cross, Rei tells the group the hole ahead leads to the boss room. He turns and asks if everyone is ready. After they all answer yes, he gets excited and states they are going in. The group heads toward the boss room. Oikawa thinks about Rei, wanting to see if he lives up to the report, feeling quite eager for that. Upon entering the boss's room, everyone immediately feels the intense heat. Rei becomes worried as the temperature is truly unbearable. A creature then slowly approaches them, a level 68 flame garm. Rei quickly draws his sword and reflects that the boss is quite intimidating. The creature starts releasing power and creates a massive fireball. Rei yells to set up a magic barrier. Oikawa states it is unnecessary. The boss fires its attack, but Oikawa defends against it easily with his barrier skill. Rei feels very surprised by Oikawa's ability. Oikawa smiles and says he will keep up with their pace using his barriers but leaves the creature to them. Rei turns and says he understands. They will take care of the boss, but they should not underestimate it. He thinks even Oikawa's barrier could be destroyed if hit too many times. He considers using his abyssal flame but observes the boss more closely. Flame garms are extremely fast, and the mana cost for his dark ability is very high. He decides to act first and tells his friends to find an opening. Rei activates his extreme body enhancement and jumps toward the boss. The creature tries to hit him, but he dodges and counterattacks. Aya launches Fireball and Yuri uses the mana conversion attack. The attacks go straight for the boss, but it dodges by jumping aside and creates distance. Rei feels very worried. This strength was expected, and a long battle is disadvantageous in the heat. They need to defeat it quickly. Oikawa observes Rei's performance, thinking his physical strength will run out soon. He wants to see what Rei will do next. Rei calls Aya and Yuri and explains they do not need to hit the boss directly but can aim for its feet. Yuri says this means Rei has a plan. Aya shouts that she understands. Yuri attacks, forcing the boss to dodge and move in a specific direction. Aya channels her power and thinks the furnace effect greatly boosts her firepower in exchange for higher mana cost. She creates a strengthened stone bullet and throws it at the boss. The boss dodges again, but it is now where Rei wants it to be. Rei thinks no matter how agile the boss is, it cannot dodge in midair. Rei jumps toward it and imbues his sword with his ice stake skill. Oikawa feels surprised to see Rei covering his sword with ice. The boss is startled, realizing it cannot move. Rei lands his attack, hitting the creature squarely. The flame garm cannot react and crashes hard to the ground. They have defeated the boss. The girls go to Rei and congratulate him. He emphasizes it was all thanks to them. Oikawa smiles and thinks it was a wonderful team effort. Rei is truly a talented mage, just as the report said. However, Oikawa believes Rei has not yet shown his true power. Rei tells them to return to the association to record their report, but Oikawa activates his magic and brings out a small barrier box and asks everyone to wait. Rei recognizes it is the same ability as before. Oikawa states he wants to test him. Rei becomes confused and asks for clarity. Oikawa explains his square box can capture monsters and also serve as a training method. He asks Rei to allow him to be honest. He wants to see Rei's true power, so he wants Rei to defeat the monsters sealed inside his skill. Oikawa makes it clear that if things get dangerous, he will seal the monsters back. The decision to accept is Rei's. Rei clenches his fist tightly. He does not fully understand Oikawa's reasons, but he also wants to gain more experience. He states he will accept the challenge. Oikawa positions the box in front of Rei and says he will begin. When he opens the box, dark energy pours out and quickly takes form. Rei feels intrigued. Oikawa knows the monster inside changes appearance based on the opponent's fear. He wonders what will appear, but just as the creature takes form, Rei becomes very frightened. The monster before him is the god of time and space, Kronos. Oikawa is impressed, stating it is the first time he has seen such a monster. He thinks Rei truly has something hidden within him. Aya also notes it does not resemble any regular monster. Oikawa explains that the training monster always takes the form of its opponent's deepest fear. This means Rei has encountered this entity in the past. Rei knows this is not the real Kronos, but its intimidating aura feels identical to the one that overwhelmed him before his regression. The monster seems eager to begin a fight. Seeing no alternative, Rei decides to attack first with his sword. The monster blocks his strike easily with its own giant blade. Rei attacks again, managing to push the giant back a step. In response, the giant launches a mysterious attack from its eye. Rei blocks the eye attack because he recognizes it. Aya seems unfamiliar with this technique, while Yuri thinks it might be an invisible shockwave. Rei has experienced this attack in his previous life before regression, so he feels comfortable dodging it. He then attacks with his ice-imbued sword, striking with full force. The monster blocks it again and counters powerfully, throwing Rei far across the room. Aya calls out to him with great worry. Rei feels surprised. The monster can nullify his attack so completely. Aya tells Oikawa the situation is becoming too dangerous for a simple trial. Oikawa agrees and tries to pull the shadow monster back into its containment box. He finds he cannot. Yuri also becomes worried. No matter how much effort Oikawa exerts, the monster resists the recall. This resistance shocks everyone present. They have never seen a training monster resist recapture before. Oikawa wonders what kind of monstrous fear this represents. Seeing the situation escalate out of control, Aya and Yuri run to help Rei. Aya launches her Blaze Furnace attack, and Yuri uses her Mana Conversion attack. The monster counters both assaults easily and throws the girls away with force. Oikawa feels guilty for starting this and decides to take direct control. He restrains the monster with his specialized restrain skill, thinking it will hold. The monster breaks free again almost immediately. This second failure shocks both Rei and Oikawa. Oikawa thinks that if this continues, the monster will wipe out the entire group. Rei thinks deeper about the monster's nature. He realizes the monster is using a specific skill that allows it to recreate Kronos' appearance and abilities drawn from Rei's own memory. If this theory is true, Rei knows a way to control the situation. Rei plans to steal the very skill that allows the monster to recreate itself. He launches a final, determined attack. During the clash, he uses his skill steal ability and drains the replication skill from the monster. This action ends the monster instantly. Oikawa stands in shocked silence, beginning to wonder deeply about Rei and the true extent of his power. Surprisingly, 3 days later, Oikawa and Yuri appear before the Blue King to submit their official report about the incident during Rei's trial. Later, Yuri is waiting alone in a hallway with growing irritation. Oikawa finally appears and apologizes for being late. They walk toward the courthouse of the Blue King. Yuri does not hold back her criticism. She reminds him he almost got everyone killed during Rei's trial. Oikawa lowers his head in acknowledgement. He states he never expected things to spiral out of control. Yuri calls his explanation a weak excuse. She tells him to be thankful that Rei forgave him so easily. Oikawa admits his mistake and adds that Rei's power is far beyond what he ever imagined and exceeds even the details in her report. The thought of facing the Blue King after such chaos makes him anxious. He wonders if their leader will overlook this mistake. Once, inside the king's chamber, Yuri and Oikawa greet him respectfully. The Blue King, Hojo Itsuki, welcomes them with calm authority and praises their recent work. Yuri apologizes for arriving immediately after returning from exploring overseas dungeons. The Blue King replies casually that he himself has been clearing dungeons across 10 different countries. Yuri feels stunned by this revelation. She knows each of those dungeons must be as dangerous as the Ikebukuro dungeon Rei and Oikawa conquered. To her, this proves the Blue King exists on a completely different level, someone who treats walking through death as a routine. The king then shifts to the real matter. He asks for a report on Rei's trial performance. After hearing the detailed account, he finds Rei's abilities remarkable. Oikawa admits Rei is an S-rank warrior who may now be stronger than himself. The Blue King thinks that his combat skills are also excellent. Moreover, he has a skill that allows him to steal an enemy's skill. He believes then Rei might be exactly the kind of mage he needs. He tells Oikawa and Yuri then he has a favor to ask both of them. Meanwhile, Rei and Aya arrive at the association headquarters. Rei thanks Aya for supporting him during the difficult trial. Aya wonders where Yuri is. Proctor Hinata spots them and quickly calls Rei over. She informs him that the Blue King has summoned him personally, though the reason remains unknown. This news makes Rei feel slightly tense and surprised. Later, Rei and Aya enter the courthouse of the Blue King. Inside, the king greets Rei with a warm demeanor. It is Rei's first time seeing Hojo Itsuki, the Blue King, in person. In his past life, this man was known as the True Color King, a warrior who believed the strong must protect the weak. Rei had admired him deeply. But the Blue King later died in a dungeon collapse while shielding civilians, becoming a hero who saved countless lives. To meet him again, alive, feels surreal to Rei. He quietly wonders why fate has brought him here now. Before he can speak, Yuri enters the chamber. She states she has a secret to reveal. Aya feels shocked to see both Yuri and Oikawa inside the chamber and demands an explanation. The Blue King reveals the truth himself. Both Yuri and Oikawa are members of the Apostles of the Holy Staff, an elite group under his direct authority. Their mission is to scout extraordinary talent. Rei and Aya realize the rumors about this secret group were true all along. The king further reveals he was the one who ordered Rei and Aya to clear the special dungeon, and he is the one who sent Oikawa with them. Oikawa laughs awkwardly and admits he wanted to test Rei's strength by letting him face the monster alone. Yuri grins and says she only joined his party because it looked fun. Getting to the point, the Blue King then states he is interested in recruiting Rei. However, multicolor mana users are extremely rare, and he wants to understand Rei before making a final decision. He asks Rei a simple but heavy question about what he truly wants as a mage. Rei remembers his past life, his failures, his weakness, and his solemn vow to defeat Kronos. He answers without hesitation that he wants to become stronger than anyone else. The king then asks if Rei wants to surpass even him and rise to the level of a color king. Rei answers yes with unshakable resolve. The Blue King smiles, pleased with his spirit. He offers him a place among the Apostles of the Holy Staff. Rei feels shocked by the offer, but the king assures him that joining the elite group will open a path far greater than anything he has known before. Later, Oikawa leads Rei and Aya to the briefing room of the Apostles, where the other elite members of the Apostles are already waiting for them. Rei recognizes them as elites from the Order of the Blue King, known as the Apostles of the Holy Staff. A mage named Kurohashi looks at the group and boasts he was expecting warriors, not kids. Shiroi, the girl next to him, reminds Kurohashi that he is the same age as them. Boy sitting in front, Azuma, teases Kurohashi for this, but Yashiro tells Azuma not to provoke anyone. Oikawa welcomes the new members and begins briefing them on the Blue King's request. He explains the mission is to conquer two dungeons, the Tama Dungeon and the Makuhari Dungeon. Both require a level above 65, so they will split into two teams. Oikawa states his team will consist of Yashiro, Shiroi, and Azuma to conquer the Makuhari Dungeon. Rei and his squad, along with Kurohashi, will conquer the Tama Dungeon. But Kurohashi immediately expresses his dislike for this plan. Yuri asks Kurohashi if he is unhappy. Kurohashi yells, he is. Oikawa explains that Rei's team's reports are satisfactory and that Rei himself wields 3 colors of mana. Kurohashi argues that having more colors does not mean he is strong enough, comparing him to his brother, Kurosaki Kai, whose failure everyone knows. Rei feels surprised to hear his brother's name mentioned. Kurohashi adds that Kai was also a member of the Apostle of the Holy Staff and was called the Purple King but was not worthy of the title. Rei remembers that Yuri once shared a similar low opinion of the Purple King. Kurohashi repeats that more mana colors do not equal strength. He also voices his suspicion that Oikawa helped Rei conquer the Ikebukuro dungeon. Aya shouts in Rei's defense, stating he is not weak. Yuri adds calmly that Kurohashi can see Rei's strength for himself inside the dungeon, seeing no other choice. Kurohashi reluctantly agrees. Yuri teasingly comments that Kurohashi is still weak when it comes to girls. Oikawa confirms the groups will remain as planned and motivates everyone to do their best. He tells Kurohashi specifically to witness Rei's true power in the dungeon. Kurohashi replies he will see it for himself. They leave the briefing room, and Rei thinks he must show his true strength to Kurohashi. However, he knows it is still not enough to face Kronos, and he needs more powerful comrades. Later, they reach the Tama dungeon, and once they are inside, monsters immediately begin approaching. Rei suggests they attack together. Kurohashi finds this strategy boring and instead runs excitedly toward the monsters to slay them alone. He attacks offensively with his red mana, thrashing every monster in his path. Aya is amazed by his display of firepower. And after clearing the first wave, Kurohashi laughs at Rei, telling him he cannot compete. He announces he plans to hunt all the monsters alone and tells Rei to just stay and watch. Rei sees this as a challenge and does not want to lose. He asks Aya and Yuri to wait and then also runs excitedly after the monsters. The girls decide to stay back and watch the boys perform. Rei also thrashes the monsters in his way. Kurohashi even compliments his moves. The girls watch from a distance, discussing how amazing it is that Rei is keeping up with Kurohashi's killing streak. Yuri explains that Kurohashi relies on brute strength and is not a team player, being less effective against human enemies. Plus, his attacks damage wide areas, which is why he tops the list for killing the most monsters. Yuri thinks that even in a scenario perfectly suited to Kurohashi, Rei is still managing to compete. After clearing all the monsters, the team reaches the outside of the boss room. Aya is amazed as it only took 10 minutes. Rei feels he was able to bring out more firepower while competing with Kurohashi, and he has never felt like this before. Just then, the door to the boss's room opens and the team enters. Aya suggests they focus on killing the boss, while Kurohashi thinks killing the boss will be easy for him alone. Rei senses a strange aura and looks up where the mysterious ugly-looking boss has appeared. And that is it for today. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time.